All right. Yay. Okay. So we are now live stream. I apologize for the delay. We could not get into Facebook, but we are here now. So I wanted to just take a second, see if we can get some of our friends to join. And while we do that, I will start by, okay, let's get it in here. Hang tight. Let's so that I can see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, we're in. All right. So I can stop sharing my screen. This meeting's being live streamed. Okay. All right. Y'all ready, girls? Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So if we have not met before, my name is Nicole Riley. I am the woman who has started this, what I like to call revolution with Velvet Underground. And a little backstory in that is I am a medium. That's what I do. That's my profession. I'm also a life coach, and I am um, I started Velvet Underground in 2020 when we were going through the shit show. And I had a lot of women who were following me, and we couldn't see each other in person. So I decided to start a meditation group. So Velvet Underground began as a meditation group, as a way that we got together a few times a week just so that we could see each other face to face. And I loved it so much because, my neighbors across the street, they were so excited. They would hop on and I'd be in my upstairs window and they would be in their upstairs window listening to me and they'd be waving across the street. It was just this most beautiful thing. And it just morphed and it just turned into more women joining. And then, our life started to get back in sync. And I kept Velvet Underground because of the connections that I made. And while we were going through this time in my life, I was also mentoring three very, very special women who have become like sisters to me. And it was fun because at the beginning, it sort of felt like I was mothering them, and like just watching them grow. And we just went through so many exciting moments together. And we went through some hardships together. We shared so much. Um, and we really got to know each other on deep, deep personal level. And those three women are Betsy Williams, Susan Shaw, and Dr. Heather Vinay. And at the time, she wasn't Dr. Heather. So that's in itself. And so we grew as a unit, and we've been together for, I don't know, girls, like 2.5 years, maybe close to 3 years. I don't even know. It feels like it's been,
Like 3 years.
I think it's
Been
okay.
crazy.
Okay, that sounds right. And so, and like we're seeing each other all the time, right? And we're knowing each other's business and we're knowing all the things about each other. And so we fast forward and things start happening really fast for us. We all start on this trajectory in our world where we started to move really quickly, and we all developed into these, honestly, these I'm going to say not different women, more enhanced versions of ourselves. And we went from doing what we were doing to shifting into this other place. And we got here with the Sanctuary, which is a membership that we started a few months ago. And we got here with the Sanctuary thinking, we're all on the same page going, something, we have to start something like, and I tend to call it a revolution. Um, and but at the same time, it's just this soft, feminine, but yet powerful and impactful feeling that we had, that we wanted these women to join us in our world, in the world that we created for ourselves. And we want to bring that out. And with all of the things that we learned and that we incorporated, these new modalities we incorporated into our lives, we knew that we wanted to just step up really big in this space. And so I'm going to start by also, I don't want to be remiss in introducing you also to Tiffany Silvestri, who is I was my back end person, but she literally is my sidekick. She's my Robin, and she does all of the back end work. Her and I talk every day, and she does all these things for me and for you, sorting things out. She's also going to be a contributor in the sanctuary, and we'll explain more about her modality and what she does and how we met, because that was really extraordinary. And then we have Renetta, who you just popped on to join us here with us live. And Renetta has been in my world for a long time, and she is also part of the sanctuary. So if we'll give you a moment to, Renetta, to maybe talk a little bit about your experience so far in the sanctuary. So I want to start tonight by welcoming you here and thanking you for taking time to be with us. And we're going to start with Miss Betsy Williams. And what I've asked each of these beautiful women to do is just tell us a little bit about themselves, and where they were and where they are and what they're doing. So Betsy, if you want to start, that would be great.
Okay. My name is Betsy Williams, and I am many things.
Mhm.
I have many hats that I wear, but first and foremost, I am a life coach, and that is by way of the guidance of Nicole. But for many, many years, I have been a realtor and a broker. And I'm married to Clint, and he works for Chevron Oronite in Deep Woods Belchase. And together we are the Brady Bunch. He has 4 boys. I have a boy and a girl. We will be married 19 years come Monday, the 18th.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So the kids are grown, and they're all out and thriving in their own areas, and families and grandchildren and trips. And we're stretched from Buffalo to Houston to maybe another state here soon. My son might be moving away. We'll find out Friday. But yeah, so that's all exciting stuff. But I am I've been in real estate since 2006. Started my own brokerage in 2020. And around that time, I noticed a posting from Nicole regarding soul sovereignty. I think it was a course that she had put together. And at that time, I was searching for something. I didn't know what, but I was hungry. There must be more to life than what I have been given so far. And believe you me, it's not that I was not given a lot. I had a great life. I have a great life. Just got to that point where I'm sort of in between raising kids, dealing with aging parents. Is real estate still for me? Just sort of rethinking all of my life's decisions. And I had met Nicole through mediumship several years prior. So when she launched Soul Sovereignty, I was ready to join, and I zoomed just like fishing. And had it not been for her, I was looking to join something, and I landed with Nicole, and that has been life changing in so many ways. Soul Sovereignty grew into Soul Fluency, and Soul Fluency has now, for lack of better words, birthed the sanctuary.
Yes.
And through my experience with not only the ladies you see here, but other ones, who were in the group before with us, I have found my purpose. And with the encouragement of Nicole, who asked me while we were, coaching and mentoring, she asked me, she said, you ever considered like coaching or coaching or talking about manifesting? And no, I don't. No, I haven't, and I don't plan to, is what I was thinking. Because she saw in me something that has always put a twinkle in my eye, and that is anything law of attraction, anything that has to do with that is speaking my language. And so she drew that out of me and gave me the voice and the opportunity to share that with others, to share my experiences, which have been life altering. And even prior to working with Nicole, and I think working with Nicole just the spotlight was just shown right on me with that. So she brought that out of me, and then she also helped me drill down on what it is I want to do. And I want to help people. I want to help ladies change their lives. I want to help ladies who think, is this all there is to life? Even when your life is great, even when your life is not sucky, or I don't have anything to complain about. And I was at a point in my life where I was like, this cannot be it.
Yes.
And so fast forward 3 years, here we are. We've all grown up together. I can't say enough. And the modality that I have been working on in our group has been manifesting. Tips on how to do that, insights, exercises, experiences, little coinky dinks that you might overlook in everyday life, those sorts of things. And in the meantime, I also found myself I enrolled in a coaching institute, school, life and health coaching, and I am wrapping that up as we speak. By the end of the month, I will be certified in both health and life. And I promise you, I would not be here today saying those words if it wasn't for Nicole and also Susan and Heather, because they were along for the ride. We held each other up through all of that in soul sovereignty, and Susan, I couldn't have had a bigger cheerleader.
That's very true.
With Susan. I mean, she's got the pom-poms and she's gonna bring it out of you, So I think that sort of sums up.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just
No,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
say something though, because I wanted to just also say that the reason why I saw in you this amazing way to reach women in manifestation was because you are literally a manifester. Like I know very few people in my life that literally just say what they want and it just like shows up. And it's like, and then the way that you're like, yeah, like, of course it should. Like, what? And I'm like, wait a minute, like, how do you do that? Right. So it is like my like mediumship, natural ability, right? Manifestation, natural ability. It's not like you're like, what is this manifestation? Let me go learn about it. You were already doing it. And that was what was so beautiful, was like, no, we have to like grow this because all of us want to know what you're doing. So you have that natural ability. And I just didn't want you to anyone to think that it was the other way around, because you're very much our natural.
Well,
So,
thank you. Yeah. And I guess when you're so used to doing something like whatever it is that you do and it's second nature to you, you just sort of lose sight of that. You just sort of poo-poo everything. But if if I look back on my life and look back on all of the things I've manifested, y'all know my story, but I mean, it's houses, it's sales, it's people, it's experiences, it's a wild ride.
it is.
A
And
wild ride.
what was beautiful was that, and I know that I speak for all of us when I say this, is that having this is another reason why the sanctuary is so important to us, because you it was like more than just being seen from me, because you're seen from me and I'm talking to you, but you have witnesses. You have, before it was just Susan and Heather, there were other women in our group too. We just decided to keep it going. But you have witnesses that were like seeing you, and you were showing up, and you're like saying, you guys, this is what's happening to me. And we're witnessing you, we're cheering you on, and we're lifting you up. And that, like, I just feel like this is something that so many of us are missing in our lives. We're so lonely as women trying to make it, you know? So I just wanted to bring that up too.
Yep, agreed. I can't, yeah, preach, I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, I don't know any woman who would not agree with that statement, at any age, any season, any socioeconomic level in life. I just feel like,
We all need
we need each other, and we need,
Mhm.
we need each
And more
other.
depth. I think a
Yes,
lot of times we're
exactly.
surrounded with people that have like a lot of people, but there's
yes.
not like that depth that we have,
No.
Yeah.
it's so different.
So
Yeah,
true.
it's I can remember the days of just like finding my girlfriends and saying, let's just go get a margarita. I mean, but that just gets old. That gets old, and you don't grow from it. Not that I don't enjoy hanging out with my friends, drinking a good
Of
margarita,
course.
but you don't grow from it.
Correct.
You just sort of commiserate,
Yes.
Mhm.
Very
at
true.
yeah, at its best. So yeah, I can't say enough about it, and I'm super excited about the launch of the sanctuary and what we all have to offer now, and I cannot wait to see what it grows into.
Thank you, Miss Nancy.
You're welcome, Miss Nicole.
Heather. And so, by the way, you
Yes.
guys, for those of you that are not local, all of us are from or living, maybe not from, but we're all living in Louisiana. And actually, we're from Louisiana. Me, Heather, and Betsy. Susan, you're
Mhm.
originally from South Carolina, right?
Carolina, yes.
South Carolina. Tiffany, you're in, oh, I don't
I'm
want to
in
hear
Southern Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, Illinois.
Yeah.
But where are you originally from?
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. Okay. And then Renata, you're from where?
New Iberia, Louisiana.
Okay, so she's
All
from
right.
okay.
I'm
All
Katie.
right. We got the girl in the house. All right. So Heather, Dr. Heather, tell us about you, my friends.
Okay, so first I'm gonna say, pardon my appearance. I just was playing tennis, not my normal work outfit,
You
but
don't wear that bow every day. That's not true.
no, well,
You
that's
do.
a lie.
I've seen it at the office.
My
I'm like,
signature
oh
look
shit,
is a
she's got
bow.
her bow on. It's a
I love
party
a bow.
time.
Oh my
Okay, so
goodness.
you were playing tennis, you ran in, you joined
Yeah,
us on the call. Yeah.
right. So, gosh, I don't even know where to start. So it feels like Nicole's been and these ladies have been a part of my life forever, but they haven't.
And I just
So
want to say something. Sometimes it feels like she's my child because she could, she literally could. And then I'm reminded as I'm across from her, she walks out in her white lab coat, and I'm like, nope, not my kid. She's a grown adult.
Some
I
days,
love
some
that
days I have.
because there is that nurturing feeling that I have.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I feel that too. So I met Nicole during the shit show of COVID. So what was crazy about that time in my life, I had recently reestablished a career like in a different field. So I had previously had a job that I was a part of for like 15 years. And it was truly like my identity. I was an engineer, I worked in a research lab, like hard science. We're not talking woo-woo stuff. Like this is, black and white, very, very serious business. And I lost that job and I really kind of struggled. Like, what am I gonna do? I thought I was gonna be doing this forever. And kind of like just really was unsure of things. And I had a bunch of kids. I'm married and we have a yours, mine, and our situation. It's 5 kids total. So I kept myself busy, but I just really wasn't fulfilled in like the way that I felt like I was using my gifts, but I didn't really exactly know what they were. But I just felt like there was something missing. And then I got a new job that I loved. I loved this job. I was working at an orthopedic office, and I was doing research on alternative therapies, more holistic type treatment for injuries and stuff. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is what I was missing from my old job. But I'm interacting with the patients. I'm seeing like the true value of what I'm providing to them. Like there's instant like reward. Like I see that I'm helping them. They acknowledge like the difference I'm making. Like I loved this job, but it was very, very stressful just because of the nature of what was going on there. And then
Can I just-
COVID happened.
It's
Huh.
also because you're working with people and not monkeys.
Also,
So
yeah.
when you
Yes.
switch to people,
It was a life-changing thing. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That was important detail. Yeah. So working with monkeys is they don't really tell you that they appreciate. And I wasn't really helping them. We were, studying infectious
need to do.
diseases and right.
Exactly.
So COVID happened and I worked for a few months and became like a stand-in nurse because I was all hands on deck, which is kind of crazy. I'd always be like, huh, you don't want me poking you with a needle? Like I used to work with monkeys and they thought I was kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not joking. It's not, anyway. But just because of the nature of my job, it was not deemed like, critical. And, funding was tough and I got laid off. And let me tell you, I was devastated because I was like, I finally did it. I reestablished myself in a new career. Like I'm going places. I got this. And then it just like the rug was pulled out from under me. And it really, really was probably one of the lowest points in my life. And so I just sort of devoted time to be at home with my kids. And I just started sort of having these like internal conflicts, like what am I doing? And we usually happen around carpool line, like this is how I went to school for how long, and this is what I'm reduced to. Like there's just gotta be something more. And then what was crazy was that my daughter at the time, she was 6 or 5 or 6, and she started she's always been like an old soul, but she started telling me these things that about my dad who had passed away about a year before she was even born. And things that I'm like, how the hell did this girl know that? She's starting to freak me out because that wasn't anything that I even really thought about before. Again, like the science, engineer brain need to be logical. And I don't know what possessed me to look up a medium, but just something told me that I should, just like my internal voice. And I feel like I researched forever because I was scared of it for whatever silly reason. And that's how I found Nicole. And I made an appointment and I didn't tell anybody until I literally pulled up to her office and like I parked my car and I just told my family where I was. I was like, okay, bye. And then I hung up the phone. And
Just in case I don't come out, this is where I am.
yeah, you put the spell on me or something. I don't know. And I walked in and it was nothing like I expected it to be. And I don't know, I had no experience with it, but it was the most warm, loving, just like positive, life-changing experience to the point where I came home and I told literally everyone that I saw, like, oh my God, you'll never believe it. I met this woman and like, a lot of people are like, you did what? I'm like, I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. Let me tell you why. And I just like, I couldn't stop talking about it. And I realized like a month later, I hadn't even messaged Nicole to tell her how much like it impacted me. And so I just decided to do it. Like I'm gonna reach out to her. And I think I said in the email, like, you know, I told her like what a life-changing experience was, and I can't tell her how appreciative and like I feel like I want to be your friend. And then I was like, I'm so weird. Why did I say that? I don't know. But then she responded and we kept in touch a little bit, but then she reached out to me about this soul fluency and soul sovereignty group. And I just said, what the hell? I'm going to do it because I just feel like there's definitely more that I want to do with my life, but I have no idea what it is. And it was truly like the most life-changing thing I've ever done. And I've never been a part of a women's group. Like I just everything about it was completely foreign to me and not something I would normally consider. But I just trusted my intuition, which is probably like the biggest part of my journey with her and these women is learning how to listen to that internal voice and really getting to know myself. Because one of the things that she said to me in our medium session was like, I feel like you just don't even really know who you are. And at first I was like, that's not true. And then I was like, that is true. I don't know who I am.
It's this woman saying this out loud that she's thinking.
Poo-poo.
I didn't like I knew who I was expected to be for so long and what I was good at and pushed into, and it was exactly what I was supposed to do at the time, but it's definitely not who I am in my soul. And I'm grateful it was part of my journey, but it just made so much sense now to be transitioning into this career of holistic medicine and, you know, figuring out like, okay, like I just like Betsy, like I know I want to help people and like that's like where my heart is, but like I didn't really know what that looked like. And I just sort of, I don't know, I didn't necessarily go on a journey like for her to tell me like this is what you need to do. It just sort of evolved into learning about myself, going deep with these other women, and then being able to really feel into what like my heart and soul is telling me and knowing that that's right and that's the direction I need to go and feeling good about it. And that's sort of what happened. And I went back to school and got my degree, and that was challenging, but I did it. And then now it's crazy that now I have my office at the Healing House where I had my first session with Nicole. Like it's so full circle. It's every day I walk in there and I'm like, oh, this is just, I never would have dreamed this 3 years ago, ever. Never, ever. And now it's been so great. Like it's just been such a like great start, and
It's
it
just
feels like
right? It's just
it does. It feels natural. It feels like this is exactly what I was meant to be doing and that there's such a need for it in our community. And so I think like for me, a lot of times people are like, so like, what do you do? And I always am like, well, it depends. Like there's like, for me, it's like my goal is to fill in the gaps in healthcare. So, you know, majority of people feel like they're rushed through, you know, doctor's appointments and that, you know, they're being told nothing's wrong, but things are wrong. Like they feel it intuitively, like something's wrong, but no one listens to them. And like, that's what I want to change. Like, I want to be the person that listens to everything and takes everything into account and is able to use my engineering brain that I definitely have and all my research background to zoom out and really connect the dots and figure out what's going on, like, you know, from above and not just so focused on one little small symptom that you lose sight of the big picture. And you know, I do that through like help them through diet, through supplements and herbals, exercise, lifestyle. But I think a lot of times people are just looking for, you know, someone to hear them and for you know, to feel like they're not losing their mind, that their symptoms are real and that there's ways that we can help with that. But sometimes just like knowing that, okay, like there's a reason for it is almost medicine enough.
I think too, Heather, that one of the I've really heard some beautiful stories about you. with the women that are seeing you. And the beauty has been like that you're they're not afraid to tell you the whole story. Like they're not afraid to say like, well, this spiritual thing has happened to me, or, I'm going through this moment in time when I'm just feel so overwhelmed with everything. And then the women that come to you and are just like giving you like these catalogs of like their whole life at physicians' offices and are like, I don't know what to do next, because they're like have these inputs from all these different physicians, and you're taking it all and going, okay, let's
Mhm.
turn this into a whole being, because that's who you are. Let's start with this. And you're listening. You're
Yeah,
listening to them. And I mean, we aren't listened to,
it's
you
so
know,
true.
because we don't
Yeah.
go in like men, like logical, like this, and it's this, and it's this. We have our feelings and our emotions wrapped up in our bodies.
Hmm.
So we need to be able to express all that. And so I know that you've helped so many of them, even with just going in there and being like, okay, I don't even know what she did, we didn't do anything yet, just still have to come back and see her, but oh my God, I feel so much better. Like
That's
just,
literally what's happened. And it's like, it's so rewarding. Honestly, I'm like, I'm so grateful that I could just do that for you, you know?
it's so beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Aw. All right, my Susan.
Trust me, if you don't want to talk all day to Heather, she will ask you 8 million questions to get you started, just so you know. Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't really know what happened in
I
1980.
don't know what happened. Yeah. Heather, I'm going to call you when you're 68 and you tell me what happened to you since you were born. Okay. Because that's what it is. But you're right. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of validity in just being listened to, because the physical issues that I have, nobody can like figure it out. And Heather's probably making about $4 an hour off of me trying to figure out how all my little issues come together and stuff. So yeah, it's a very interesting experience.
Yeah, I bet it is. So you said something, and you said having someone to listen to me, but I want to interject and also say that that's something that you are very good at.
Hmm.
It's your job,
My job.
right? And so tell us a bit about you and what you do and why you listen to people and what you say. So let's talk about that.
I'm a very happy human being, mostly because of the people that you see on the screen right here. It was not that way several years ago. I'm a widow. I've been a widow for almost 12 years now. We were married for 25 years. That was my second marriage. The first one was kind of a trial, sugar marriage. That doesn't count anymore.
No, it
You
doesn't.
know, yeah. So that was a tough time for me. Was in between when my husband died to when I met Nicole and we got started with all of this work. It was definitely a tough time. I started working for Chevron then because basically my husband left me nothing. He thought he had a will, but he didn't, and it wasn't legal. And we had a 50-acre farm, which had to be split up in 3 different ways because he had 2 sons. And then there was me in South Carolina. You got to split everything up. So it was the total shit show. I mean, to be honest, it was nuts. And I was having a really hard time with it. And I had just come to work for Chevron in Covington because I needed a job. I didn't have any income anymore. I had stopped working as a consultant right before Pruitt died, to take care of my father who was ill. And so I was unemployed for about 18 months, almost 2 years. And then a friend of mine at Chevron called and said, hey, they've posted a job that you might like. And I applied for it and got it. I mean, Betsy, I think I manifested it. I think
You
I
most-
did it without your guidance at the time. But I think somehow I said, okay, that sounds good. I'll go. And so I started working at Chevron. I went to the Healing House because a friend of mine at Chevron said, look, we both need to lose weight. Let's go see this nutritionist. And so there was a nutritionist in the Healing House. And so we went to see her. So I'm sitting there getting my consultation. She's giving my instructions and stuff. And the door of her office opened, and this sort of little tornado of color came in and said, oh, excuse me, and gave this nutritionist a big hug and said, I've missed you so much. Sorry. She looked at me, sorry, we've been apart for about 2 weeks and I just had to come give her a hug. Oh, okay. And then she kind of
barges in someone's office.
right?
Yeah.
She kind of does a little tornado thing, but then right before she left, she stopped and looked me dead in the eye and said, you need to call me sometime, and then left. And I said, who the hell was that? And she's, she runs this place, and she's
I love that story.
right. I said,
Because
was it?
it's so true. Like I remember it, and I'm so embarrassed that I did it. But
It
then I'm
was
like,
so,
I would've
it was
never
like
met
this,
you.
and then, whoop, and I said, what does she do? Oh, she's a psychic medium. I said, well, that kind of scared me a little bit. What is that? So then we spent the rest of the time talking about what she does and how she does it and what she had done for this person. And I thought on the way home, I thought, oh my husband just died. Somebody's putting this person in my path, and I need to do something about that.
That's it.
So I finally got up the nerve to call and make an appointment, and the rest is history. We've had a great friendship and a great bond ever since.
It's been
So-
almost 10 years.
How many?
It's been almost, it's like 9 or 10 years.
When did you open the Healing House?
10 years ago.
Okay, then I think I may have been the second person in the door or something, but and it's been amazing. So from day one, after talking to Nicole, I felt almost no grief. I was still mad at him for dying because that was not part of the plan, but that was between me and him. So I talked to him more. I talk to him all the time now because I know from her that he listens, he can hear me. So it healed me from the bottom of my soul completely. I mean, because I thought I had been abandoned. I thought, what am I going to do? That's it. Life is over. My 25 years on the farm, which was my dream, with horses and dogs and cats and chickens and everything. You know how that is, Tiffany, right? It's your whole world, right? And that world ended for me. And I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. I mean, I was in sort of a mess. And so Nicole was not just a connection to my dead relatives who are very talkative, by the way, when we get together. They're not shy. And also gives me a lifeline to, I can do anything going forward. And that's where Betsy and Heather have come in handy in many, many ways. I mean, Betsy's a great coach. Oh, by the way, I'm a leadership coach for Chevron.
Yes, you are.
Currently, yes. My third career, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I teach leaders who think they're good leaders how to be good leaders. And managers upper managers, executives, all the way to frontline supervisors, I teach them how to be a human being and a good leader and be successful through other people. And so, I mean, I don't care if you're a Sunday school teacher or a mom, or if you run a small business or you run a big corporation or whatever, all of us have to rely on the success of other people that we work with for our success. And so that's what I try to help people do. And by the way, Heather, I don't think I saw you smile for the first 6 months we knew you. You were so intense and so
I
focused.
was.
You were so focused. And now
was
you're
so
so
foreign.
happy.
You're like that.
It was so foreign
Like
to like
scrunch
talk
up
about
and she'd like take,
feelings.
she would take notes. She was always
Yeah,
taking notes.
Literally, that's the case.
probably in color pencils too.
Color
Yeah.
pencils.
That's totally true. It's
Mhm.
it's crazy. I didn't really know how to feel
Yeah.
and go. I don't know. It's so weird how I was able to like soften with you ladies. Y'all
And you know
crack
what's beautiful?
through.
I want to say this is like, it's not, and this is a beautiful example. It's not that you weren't soft because you are very feminine. You have a bow in your hair.
Yeah.
You're very feminine, but you're very logical. And
Mhm.
and the thing is that that's how you were literally trained to be logical, right?
Yeah.
It's part of your nature also, because we know all about your numerology and all that stuff, but it's part of your nature. But you have this like fun, exuberant personality. But then then it was like la 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 la. Oh, get serious, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Like I had to fight it all the time. I felt
it's
like it was bad to be that way.
yes, yes. And it was just that you just weren't, the puzzle pieces weren't like, they were there, they just weren't fitting tight yet, you know?
Yeah.
And then you look at it and you're like, I can say this for all of us, like we had to go through all of the things we went through to get where we are. It just is. Because if we didn't
Very
have
true.
that knowledge, we would have nothing to hold on to, nothing to say like, this is who I know that I am, that I know that I'm not anymore. We don't have the opposite, right? To be able to say this is who we are. So it's a beautiful thing. And we pick on her all the time, you guys. But because every time I look at her, I'm a Barbie girl. And
Yeah.
so yeah. And then you got like the Barbies in like the doctor suit. Um, but anyway, but yeah, Susan, also though, one of the things that I love about what you do too is, and this is something that you're really good at, it's part of your, I know it's part of your job description, but you're really good at this, is really helping people, and in our case helping women step into that leadership role and what it looks like to be a leader, like in different parts of your life, and how you can be a leader in so many different ways. It's not just about like being a leader of your family. You know, you're also a leader in other aspects of your life. So, leadership is something that you're going to be bringing to the sanctuary, and
Yeah.
so much more. But that's something that I know that really holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, yeah. I was just telling somebody yesterday that I've known since I came to Covington in 2012. By the way, I left Covington in 2017, went to Houston for 6.5 years. Do not recommend. But thanks to Betsy, I manifested my way back to Covington in December. So I'm back. But I was
And
telling
wait, I'm
someone
sorry. And where do you live?
Yeah. Yeah.
6 houses down from you. Yep, I do. So I've got my lifeline, easy to connect. And
6
thanks
white
to,
picket fences down.
yes, white
Literally.
picket fences. It's like almost too perfect.
It is right. That is
I,
weird.
yeah, it's creepily perfect. But it's so nice because in Houston, I had an apartment and a condo, and I didn't have a yard. Didn't
Yeah.
feel like I could walk out in anybody's grass because there's always poop everywhere. And you couldn't take your shoes off and get grounded and do what you need to do out. And yeah, so I'm so happy. And Betsy, you helped me through that. I mean, I couldn't have done it without you. Could
Oh.
not have done it. You taught me so much, and I'm seeing driftwood everywhere. And so thank
Driftwood.
you.
Love the
She even
driftwood.
taught me about driftwood
I
because she
did.
started talking about like, what are you talking about?
Yes. Yes.
I
I
love
mean, because what we do comes together so easily and comfortably, and it helps. I quote Nicole, I quote Betsy, Heather, everybody. I mean, I use everything that you've taught me every day.
I love this so much.
Yay.
Yay.
I'm so happy.
I'm happy.
Makes my heart full.
So let's move to, thank you, Susan. Let's move to Miss Tiffany, who, like Susan, had sort of led us into literally lives on a farm. So tell us about you. What's going on with you?
Oh, I get to follow up all of you amazing women. Okay. So I'm going to be straightforward, and my road to finding myself has not been nearly as amazing as you guys. Mine has been one bumpy ass road because I didn't have a sisterhood with me. I did it myself. I trudged through the mud. I did it. I Google was my sisterhood, let's say, and Pinterest, because Pinterest is Google's like girlfriend.
That's very true.
It's,
True.
it's
Good to
100%.
know.
It is search
Very
engine.
true.
So, anyways, so I'm a 100% learnaholic. I can't say I've stuck with anything as long as I have currently. Technically, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I am also a certified nutritionist. I've done sports nutrition. I've worked at U-Haul. I've done 1.5 million things. And
Wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
There
I
we
worked at
go.
a massage clinic. I almost became certified masseuse.
Wow.
And so when I was working at U-Haul, it was a dreadful job. I don't ever recommend working there. But that's when I was pregnant with my first son. My husband and I have been together. We were doing the math the other day, almost 17 years. We have 2 kids together. We'll be married for 11 years this September. I'm 33, if that helps. So we met in high school and all the things. And so with my journey, let's just start with that. I have always been the black sheep. Always. I've never flown with anybody that I've known. I've never been the one to have a huge clan of friends because I just never fit in. I'll be honest, I'm a weird one. I'm okay with it. But it took me 33 years to be okay with it because of trying to figure out where what is life about. We live, we go to work, we create a family, and then we die. And I wasn't okay with that. I wasn't satisfied with that short story. So through my digging, my husband made it so I could stay home with the kids because daycare in Northern Illinois is like $500-600+ a week. And so he made it so I could be home. And I went star crazy before the first 6 months of being a stay-at-home mom. I love my kids. I love them absolutely to pieces. They're now 8 and 6. But so I started fiddling around and building my own business. And I don't know if you know this, Nicole, but I actually started creating soap. That's how I started online.
Okay.
That is where I
I
began.
make soap
Love that.
too.
I love homemade soap.
Yes, just
I
merging.
love it.
I love homemade soap, but I would do like all the weird, like I gotta make it natural and I gotta have all the things. But of course, soap making products and children are not friends. But what's transpired through that little journey was I realized how much I loved building websites and figuring out the
Wow.
science behind technology. And so at the time I found somebody online that was running, all the MLM, let's have a party, but she needed a VA. And so I was like, that sounds actually really fascinating. So that's when I switched. I was like, well, forget the soap, I can use that. And so I just started doing all of her back office. And it went nowhere for a good 2 years. And my husband's like, okay, you've got to figure this out. Because at that point, I was pregnant with my second son, and I did end up having to go back to U-Haul momentarily because they were desperate and needed help. So I did, and it was again dreadful. And then I found my mother actually has always been very spiritual, into like meditating and everything. And she took a class on shamanism through who has now been one of my clients for many years. And she was looking for a VA, and so that's when everything started to spiral, because after that it was one thing after another. So I loved doing all things tech. So technically I'm certified marketer, I've done launch management, I've done
All
all
the
things,
things.
all the
I'm like,
things.
hey, have you ever heard of? She's like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, can we do that? She's like, yeah. And like 10 minutes later, she's like, okay, I have everything set up. And I'm like, it's taking me like literally 2 weeks to even understand the process. Like, who are you?
It
Crazy.
formulates. I'm very Virgo, so it helps.
Yes, it
And I'm
does.
a Capricorn rising, so it's all earth and building. I think
And
the
that is
only earth is
also,
Taurus I don't have.
and that's something that you love. You love astrology.
It is.
Yeah.
So in finding what I absolutely love, obviously tech comes very naturally to me, but going back to being the black sheep, my in-laws, especially my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, would just come at me 100%. And this is just my journey in finding who I was. It started when I was a baby. My father didn't want me because I wasn't a boy. My stepfather is crazy, and it just tumbled, and it got me to the point that probably a good 2 years prior to COVID, I was like, why am I a piece of garbage to all of the people that are supposed to be there for me, all of them? And at one point, my mom and I even stopped talking because of family drama, and it was just a tumbleweed. And that's when I found astrology. And Nicole, I think you follow her. I followed Vanessa. Um, and I just started digging and digging, but I didn't have a support team. And at that time, my husband thought I was bonkers because he's like, astrology, like, okay. Like, so you go outside and look at stars, right? I'm like, well, I mean, like, no, but yes. So but so astrology is how I learned about why I am the way I am and who I am, and for the most part what I'm here to be. And so I've been doing astrology for probably 2 or 3 years now. And then that's when Nicole found me actually. I'm so techie. She found my website through our Kartra, and my tech didn't even work.
That is very true.
And so she emailed me. She's like, I tried to book a call,
Tried to book a call, but
but
it's
it
not
didn't
working.
work. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, the one thing I'm over here like, hey, I'm your tech assistant, and my own tech doesn't even work. 'Cause
But it didn't deter me.
no, it
didn't deter
didn't.
me.
It didn't. And I'm pretty sure that we agreed to work together
We did,
immediately
because
after
we had one friend in common,
right.
who she doesn't even know it's her mom's friend.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was beautiful because it was like, I was literally like, you know what? I can't do this anymore by myself. I have got to find someone. I have got to find someone, and I don't even know where to go. And I was on a platform that we use called Kartra, and I'm on there, and it was like an ad popped up, and it was like an ad for virtual assistants. And she was the first one at the top. I'm like, she'll do. I just clicked the button. I'm like, can we talk? And then I was like, wait, we have a friend in common. This is weird. And then it was just like, there was more and more and more and more. And it was like, this is so bizarre, because where you are in your life, is where I am in my life in so many ways. And like one of the beautiful things that you bring to me personally is like when I go to say, I'm ready to put this out in the world, she's like, hold on, we need to look at your chart first. It's not a good time. I'm like, what? I'm like, ready to, it's like,
Mhm.
good time. And see, I am like action reaction. So I am very like, I got an idea, I'm putting it out there. And people like, I don't blame you ladies if y'all are like, Nicole is like all over the place because I can be very much all over the place. And the beauty of it is that she keeps me very grounded and centered. And it's like, I know you want to do this. We're going to hold on a minute. And on this date, if you still want to do it, we'll move forward, but we're not doing anything right now. Or she'll call me and say, hey, come on, let's go. It's in the chart. Do something. Let's go. And that is like created. That's also the energy that feeds me also to in the sanctuary to be like, okay, it's now. We're doing it now. Because I know in my chart that the beauty that I'm creating right now is literally, right, Tiff? Exactly what I am supposed to be doing in my life at this moment. And so that's why it's beautiful. And trust me, she's also the one that I'm like, I give up. I just can't do this. She's like, okay, stop. Let me go see. Oh, it's in your chart. You should be having a bad day. You and your emotions. I'm like, this shit's real. Like, I just kind of was just like, oh, yeah, it's in my birth chart. No, this shit's real. And
It's
it's
real.
real.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
legit real. And that's what really is so amazing. And one of the things that both she and I have in common too, and this is what Tiffany's gonna be working on in the group, is with my Scorpio energy, and I have so many planets in Scorpio, right? And I am like all about, unfortunately, maybe for me, I don't know, but I'm all about death. I'm all about dying and rebirth and dying and rebirth and dying and rebirth. But I'm like, gotta hit the grounds, gotta be buried before I can spring up and give birth again. So the beauty of it is that with with all this, you love working in the dark, with the dark moon. You love working with that. And could tell us a little bit about, I mean, I didn't know anything about the dark moon. I heard of it. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know its significance. So tell us what you're going to be doing in the sanctuary with that part of it.
Sure. So, yeah, exactly like you said, like you're 100% the Phoenix because you're so Scorpio energy. And so with the dark moon, and I've studied the basics of astrology for several years now, but about a year ago I found an interesting point that it was just kind of thrown into my line of view for understanding what the dark moon, or also known as Lilith, she also has an asteroid. I just recently learned that, Nicole. So there's actually 3 points of the dark moon. And it's not technically so the your Lilith placement within astrology is not technically a point. It's an astrological mathematical placement of where the dark moon is at the time of your birth. And what it is it shows us where we suppress ourselves. It shows us where our wildness is being hidden. It shows us where we create a mask to be societal and restricted on how we express ourselves. So when I finally started to understand why the dark moon phase is so important, of course, I ate up every bit of information. I've read book after book after book. And so the dark moon is where we can take a moment and understand ourselves as basically as a free, liberated human being and wash away the conditioning, societal conditioning, parental conditioning, ancestral conditioning, and go deep and really understand who you are as an individual human being, because no two single people have the same, even twins, even quadruples. There's no two similar people. Because to take it one step further, I also study human design, and you can literally look into your placements. I do not believe in a coincidence. There is no such thing as a coincidence.
Nope.
Period.
We've
Period.
learned that. We've learned
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
From you know who. It is, so there is nothing weird. There is nothing
No.
that is crazy. It's all meant to
It's
be.
all mapped. It's all mapped.
Even though we always still say, "Is that crazy?" Like, no.
No.
There's no such thing as crazy because you can see it coming. All you
Mhm.
gotta do is look. But it's the things that are not taught to us as kids is that we're, or even like as an adult, you're not taught to understand that everybody is an individual human, and we judge and we place blame, and we don't realize that all we have to do is look in the mirror and understand why we're miserable, understand why we're angry, understand why we are exactly where we are. And all you have to do is just take a look in the mirror, and it can just change your perception of your own life in an instant. And so that's like the dark moon, in my opinion. And I've been trying, I told Nicole this the last time we chatted. It's like I've been wanting to create a group of, you have all the new moons and the full moons and the meditating, and I can't meditate for shit. I mean, I don't know about you girls, but like to sit on a pillow and namaste, it's just not in me. I cannot, my brain doesn't stop. It's just like, okay, I have to work out in order to get into some form of meditative state because of where my Mars is located. My Mars is in Gemini. So I'm like, let's go. I have that energy to take on. My husband tells me all the time, he's like, I don't understand you, because I have that Mars placement in Gemini. I can read a book, hold a conversation, and watch TV all at the same time. And he's like, wait, I can't talk to you, I'm filling out this text message. And I'm like,
That's
wow.
me.
Like, like I can do numerous things because of that placement. But my Lilith placement is what really got to me, because when we finally moved down here from Northern Illinois, and I don't know if anybody's ever been to Illinois, but it should be two totally different states.
It should
Northern
be.
Illinois and Southern Illinois are 360 different worlds.
Agreed. Different planet.
100%. Different people, different atmosphere, all the things. So when our family dynamics went sour, we're like, we're not staying here anymore to please everybody else. We finally decided, it's almost 2 years ago that we've been down here, and we, as Susan said, yes, I have a farm too. I did just get rid of my goats, but yeah, it was before the really cold week, and I was like, I can't trap them in the barn. It's not fair to them.
Smart.
And I don't know about you, but animals yelling at me to feed them just wasn't in my forte.
Especially when the time changes, when it's, and they don't recognize that. What do you mean? It's daylight saving time.
Right.
What?
They're like, you're supposed to feed me an hour ago, man.
Exactly.
Total foreign language over here. I'm like, y'all are like, okay, I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Animals have a schedule. I
It's
don't
in
care
the
what anyone
stars,
says. They're
Nicole.
like, it's 5 o'clock
Too
somewhere.
much.
And I'm
Yeah.
not talking Jimmy Buffett.
Could be.
So I'm down to, I still have my turkeys. I love my turkeys. I have rabbits now. Actually, I didn't even tell you yet. I got one the other day. It was so bad. I gotta stop going to the farm store. It's a trap. It's a trap. I got a Benny. It's literally like this big. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you.
But it'll grow. That's
Yeah.
It might. The farmer took it too soon from mom, so we'll see how
Oh.
far it makes it. But anyways, so
Do you have any Do you have any peacocks?
I don't yet.
Okay,
Yes.
there's an action item for you.
I have been looking into it.
I don't know. I heard they're mean.
I
They're
heard the same.
beautiful. I mean, who cares? If they're mean.
Who cares?
They're beautiful.
So Tiff, there's Cecilia said she's in St. Louis.
Oh,
Tiffany's
okay.
in St. Louis. And then
I'm
Chanel
about an hour.
I know. Chanel wrote a comment on here also, and she said, Tiffany, where's my dark moon? And I said, you'll let them know how to find their dark moon placement in the comments under this video.
Well, yeah, it's so super vital information for me to go forward with. Telling you where everything is you desperately need your time and location of birth, and also obviously your birthday. And then that's where you can find your natal placement. And then you can also follow on it. So Lilith moves placements every or the dark moon moves every 9 months. So it's a little bit more of a slower transition, but it's pretty quick at the same time. But it's something that you can look into finding. What are like when you're feeling like you're in a cage
Yeah.
and you're ready to understand why?
Yes.
That's when you can look at your dark moon and understand like why you feel like Nicole, you told me a couple weeks ago you were
Yep.
just like, I just have
Oh,
to
I was losing it.
purge.
I was literally losing it. I was like in a dark place. I was like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Nothing is working. My husband John and I were like literally, he was like, when are you leaving? And I was like, when am I leaving? Like, and how long am I gone? Because it's not gonna be long enough. You know, it was like one of those feelings of like needing to like escape. And then I said this to you, and you said, well,
And
look,
that's when I told you exactly where your dark moon was and why it was affecting you so deeply.
and you know, when I heard that, I have to say, it was one of those moments. And this is the beauty of it too. And this is what I want everybody to hear is that, like, I'm used to being like the teacher, right? And that's sort of like when people come to see me, it feels like it's like I'm always like giving and giving. And then for me, I was like, I need my cup to be filled. I need my cup to be filled. And I didn't realize I needed my cup to be filled. I really didn't, girls. And I was just like, I got this. I got this. And I'm always like I feel like if you would ask, I have 3 daughters, 33, 25, and 15. And I think that if you ask them all, like, describe your mom, they would probably say, like, she's one of the strongest women that I know. And I thought about that over the last like few months. And I'm like, you know, that's great, but I don't want to be like the strongest. I like was feeling this need to like melt into myself, like to feel more of my femininity and not being like so like on or like being the teacher. And then I realized that, wait a minute, I have women around me in my circle that I don't have to be your teacher. Like it shifted for me. It was something because it was like I still was playing this role. And it was like, and I think it sort of happened when Heather moved into the healing house because I was like, wait a minute. Like it was almost like, wait a minute, she's not my baby anymore. You know, she's grown up. She went to college and she's got her own job. It was like, I kind of feel like she's leaving me. It was like that feeling. And then it was like, you know, all those things kind of came and Susan moved into town and like Betsy is like, I got this course. And I'm like, wait. Y'all are like, y'all have grown up like really fast. And I was feeling a sense of like depletion or like, what's my purpose? Or, you know, and I'm even looking at my kids and I only have one kid left at home. And all these things like came really crashing down. And I'm like, realize that I'm leaning into my 33-year-old assistant for guidance. Like that right there was just like, wow, like being vulnerable, letting go, not feeling like I had to own it, not feeling like I had to be her boss, like I had to tell her what to do. I'm like asking her for her guidance. And then I'm realizing that the women around me, I'm like, wait a minute, we're creating this. Wait, it just everything changed. And what was beautiful about it was that when I was talking to Tiffany about all this, she's like, Nicole, this is the beauty of it is that you're not fighting it anymore. This is exactly what your chart is asking you to do right now. And I'm like, and I think that we had gone through like this transit that I'd been in for like years that was literally coming to an end. And that's how it felt like, oh, like all this is like coming. It's like this weight on my shoulders has just been lifted off. But then I started to wonder, like, who am I without these roles that I'm playing? And it felt so good.
And taking your mask off in
Yeah.
reality, allowing yourself to be seen and understood for who you are. And I probably poke at you more than you ask me to anyways. I'm probably like, oh,
I
hey,
appreciate
Nicole,
it.
by the way, like, just so you know, this is happening. So,
It's true. But it's like knowing all this and like, when we've worked together, it's like, learning about, teaching you about your astrology, teaching you about, all these other ways to like deepen and know yourself. And it feels like this is just what we bring to the table, all of us in our own ways of like this deeper knowing of like who you are. So I'm standing up as a testament at my age, at 53 years old, and having built what I feel like has been a great career in the last decade. And I'm really proud of what I've built with the Healing House and the women that's in it. But stepping into this new feeling or this new place that I knew that I had to step into, and like even revamping the sanctuary, even though we'd only started for a few months, it's like I felt like this new energy that needed to be birthed because I just feel this like overwhelming feeling that like we're on this, and I feel like it's for all of us. Like we're on this precipice of like something is changing. Our world is changing around us. And it's like whether we want it to or not, it's like it doesn't matter. It's happening. And so it's like I'm feeling like with my clients, it's like even though they're coming to see me for grief, I'm getting more clients that are coming to see me for progression and growth. But there's still like this undercurrent that we're still dealing with of like loss and of grief. And it's like intense and it feels heavy sometimes. And I just want you to know, like, you're not imagining these things are happening. Like these things are the energy around us is really happening in this place. And I thought, if I didn't have all of you here. And Renetta, you've been hanging on and I appreciate you. But if I didn't have Renetta like showing up to all of my calls and like speaking up and like saying, well, I have a question or tell me more about this. If I didn't have her in my life, even doing this, like there's just this sense would be like this sense of like purposefulness or like a lack or like missing something. But the beauty of having this tribe and having it grow and having, Cece and Chanel and all these women that are growing with us and that are on the call on Facebook with us, it's just like having them in our group is so enlightening and profound because they're hungry. They're just hungry, hungry. And I'm hungry and we're all hungry, right? We just so happen to have these tools that we can bring to the table that will help you to like really dive deeper into what you want and who you are and all that exciting stuff. Okay, so I'll quit talking. And I want to invite Renetta, if you could. Okay, if you could just like tell us a little bit about yourself and you're part of the sanctuary. You've been in my world for a bit. So, but I know that you've recently gone through a transition in your own life. And like this is something that I know that I feel like I know that when the sanctuary came calling to you, it's like it felt like a no-brainer because you're also someone that is like craving. You're just craving something deeper. So, without taking any words out of your mouth, if you could just tell us a little bit about you. Tell me about you. Tell us.
Well, first I have to tell you that my heart chakra is pulsing.
I love that.
every time I am talking or around this group, I swear it feels like I'm on a roller coaster. My pulse in it pulses in my heart chakra. So I know I'm in the right place.
Love
I
it.
know I'm in the right place. So I am a huge empath. Um, not by choice, but I'm an only child to a narcissistic and bipolar mom that passed away almost 2 years ago and gave me my freedom. And yes, but I went to
Yeah.
you.
Did y'all feel that? Oh, yes.
It was heavy, but honestly, that was the only way I could be free. And now I have a great relationship with her. So it's on my terms though. You know, you taught me that. But the first time I came to see you was because my best friend had passed away. And so I wanted to make sure she was okay and that let her know that I loved her and that she taught me to be a better friend because I wasn't the best friend. I could have been better. And her passing taught me that I need to be better. So you helped me with that. But it wasn't all about the mediumship. You started talking about me and what gifts I have and all that. And I wasn't prepared for that. I was just prepared to hear about my friend. And you gave me permission to not need permission.
Oh,
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
oh, I'm getting so emotional.
It was a huge turn for me.
Oh gosh.
Between you and my life coach, Julie,
Yes, one of my best friends.
I love her. You know, we have angels that come into our life, right? And there's such a purpose for every person we meet. But there's some people that make huge impacts on the direction of your life, where it's going to lead. You take a turn or whatever. And between you and Julie, I swear I would not be where I am today because I am a strong woman who is still hungry. I'm standing on my own 2 feet, but I'm wobbly. I'm a newborn. I'm a 60-year-old newborn. And I am happy, but I'm hungry. And I need to know more about myself. My soul is working with me to let me know who I am because my mom didn't let me be anything of it. I was none of I didn't know who I was. I was a shadow. And so I wrote some things here, but you're a teacher, but when we leave you, you're in my head and I hear you talking, you surface in odd moments and you teach me or you call me on the carpet, you know, you're very direct and you kind of, you know, make sure we take the bullshit out of it, you know, because we're embarrassed sometimes to say the truth. And you're like, uh-uh. And I hear you in my head when I want to say bullshit. I hear that. I'm like, oh, damn it. Okay, you know, and so I have to be my true self. And so I'm learning how to do that. And I know this group is going to guide me through it because I'm so hungry for it. I want to be the woman I'm supposed to be for myself first, for myself.
Oh, I
And
love
then
that.
for other people, you know, I need it for myself because I was 58 years old before I knew who I could be. 58. And my window is smaller. I mean, every time the sun comes up, it's a day closer to the time I'm under the ground, right? So I need to be myself now. I'm so hungry to be myself so I can help other people find who they are and be themselves because I was put here for more than just sitting in a chair
Oh, yes.
Indeed.
or doing what my mom wants me to do. I am here for more. And so
Oh, you're preaching for yourself, and I love it so
I
me.
much.
know.
for me, but I have to do it with a tribe. And
You
I
do,
have never
right?
really had one until now. And at first I was like, they're on such a different level than me.
No,
And so I
No,
had
we're
to,
not. No, we're
no, we're
not.
not. No,
well,
we're not.
I
No,
had to
we're
go
not.
in, you know,
We're,
inside
we're,
myself and
we're,
say,
we're,
you know, I
we're
had to
all at
say,
different places, right, Renetta? I mean,
right.
you're in the right place because I mean, Heather and I have a lot in common because I was trained as an industrial engineer. We have an industrial engineering brain. There is not a woo-woo bone in our bodies. But at the same time, we still hang out with these people and we learn
Yeah.
more somehow. And we learn so much about all of this stuff, which whether it's scientifically able to be proven, whatever. I mean, I'm so excited about getting Tiffany to do my chart thing. I mean, I'm,
Me
right,
too.
Wait, I know that this whole call, I knew it as soon as Tiffany started talking. Did you see her face? Betsy, I know you saw it. She
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
wait,
yeah,
hold on, I can learn something more about myself. Hold on.
Mhm.
She's gonna be
yes.
off this call. She's gonna be messaging Tiffany right away saying, when can we meet?
I already wrote that
Okay.
down. I already wrote that. So yeah, so me, I'm making lists. Like, yes, and Tiffany, you just moved up to the top of the list. So
Oh shit, Betsy. Oh
Re-
shit, Betsy.
look at Betsy. Renetta,
Oh,
you're in
you
the
better be
driver's
ready to
lane.
dive.
Because we're learning stuff every day. We're learning every time we talk to each other. We're like, oh, really? How do you do that? You know, it's fascinating what you can get into. I'm the least woo-woo person on the planet, and all of a sudden I'm talking to these mediums and
Yeah, same.
whatever. So I'm with you, girl. Yeah, totally.
Thank
Renetta,
you so much. I
you
appreciate
said
that.
something. You said something, Renetta, and I want to touch on this for a second because I know that there's a lot of women out there who can relate. Tiffany had mentioned, her struggle with her family and, in particular, with your mom and things like that. And, I was adopted and an only child. And while I didn't struggle with my own adopted mother, I did find my birth mother very much struggled with that relationship and also just this feeling of not being wanted, and something that Tiffany's gone through also. Betsy is not an only child, but technically could be because of her difference in age from her brothers and your sister.
Yeah.
Right? And so you were really treated as an only child for a long time in your household.
Yes.
Okay. Susan was adopted. Yes. And she had two brothers. Were your brothers older than you, younger than you?
One older that was a son of my adopted father, and one younger who was also adopted that's not really my brother.
Correct. But you also had this feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong, of just being like singular,
Yes,
very
completely.
singular. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And Heather, while you have step siblings, you were the only biological child of your mom and dad,
Really?
Mhm.
correct?
I was
And
actually, yes, I was actually a twin, but my twin brother died when he was
No.
born. Like, I didn't even know that until I was like 9 or 10. It's really weird. But yeah, I was the
which
only
is really
child.
interesting because that's like a whole grieving thing that we can literally dive deeper into, because it's like, yeah, that's a whole thing right there. But it's a singular, it's sort of like the singular thing. And then Renata, you're talking about this as well as being like the singular thing. And it's interesting because I feel like, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel like a lot of us, we may have even have sisters and brothers, but there's for a lot of us, there's something about it that just feels, in a sense, just like singular, like we're different or we're not the same, right? And in speaking from experience of having my children, first two are 8 years apart, the first and the last are 18 years apart, the middle and the last are 10 years apart. So literally I have these three different generations of children, and they are very singular in a sense as well, but I just feel like there's a lot of women out there who can relate to this feeling of singularity. And it could just be like, even in the moment that you're at in your life right now, if you look back, it could be that you can pinpoint parts of your childhood where you felt very singular. And because of that singularity, I think that it also gives us sort of like an extra, I'm going to call it like a soul urge to find sisters, to find
Yes.
the group. And like the sanctuary is the sanctuary for sisterhood, for sacred sisterhood, right? And what I love about the feeling of sacred sisterhood is that it's this feeling of not when I would imagine, and because I have 3 children that are sisters, they know everything about each other and they are so quick to pull that shit up. They're like, "Oh, remember when you were like 9?" And the 15-year-old's like, "I don't remember yesterday." Like, what? But she's like, "Well, you were 9." She's like, "Well, you were 19." So it's like you see my world completely different than I see my world because I was 9, you're 19. So it's like, but with sisters, you can go, it's like this kind of like memories of things that you're just like, I don't even want to remember that shit. Like, I just want to like start new from where I am. And that's the beauty of where we are right now in the group that we have, the sanctuary, is because to us, it doesn't matter where you've been. Like that, it matters because we want you to grow from it. We want you to, sometimes you might have to tap back into it, but we don't know your story. And we're not going to call you out on your story. We're not going to talk about when you were 30 and what you did. And we're not going to bring up your shame and all your things. We're starting from right now. Where are you right now? And that is the magic of having sisters when you're an adult that are not high school friends, that are just women that are coming into your life and it's all new and exciting. But here's the thing, a lot of us are afraid of letting people know who we were, right? Or maybe giving them a glimpse of like, well, they don't know that I did this, or they don't know that, this happened in my life, or that my daughter doesn't talk to me, or that I'm divorced and all the trauma and all the things. And you're right, we don't. But here's the thing, that's okay, because what we'll take you through is we'll get you to the point to where you are like, hey, this happened to me and it happened. And this is how I'm dealing with it now. And this is my body reacted to it this way. And this is how I know that I'm changing because I can feel it inside of me. And all these little clues that's going to lead you to this place of recognizing that in order for you to grow, and in order for you to expand, and in order for you to become like totally 100% fall in love with yourself, we have to have empathy and compassion for ourselves, for what we've been through, and we have to let the shit go. Right?
Yes.
Amen. Amen, sisters.
Amen.
Right?
Absolutely.
And the only way that we're going to let it go is, and trust me on this, because I have said several times in this past week, that's so crazy that that's coming up. I really thought I worked through that. That's so crazy that that's coming up. I really thought I worked through that. I have said that so many times in the last few weeks to Tiffany. I thought I worked on that. That's so weird. Why is that coming up? Right. And I'm like, okay, because it's part of who I am. It's in my book. It's in the book. It's been written. It's part of who I am. The reason why it comes up is just because I need to look at it again and go, okay, how am I expressing this in my world? But the beauty of it was I wasn't like, that happened to me, or oh God, I've got to go back there again. It was more, okay, why is this coming up? We're going to go through those things. This is why I always say, like, it's not easy. Soul work is not easy. Growing is not easy. But listen, if you want to stay exactly where you are right now, think about it. Just think about like, give yourself till Christmas time, right? Till December. Like, I'm telling you right now, if I'm in the same place, y'all better kick my ass because I do not want to be in the same place. But I know that I won't be because there are women around me who are going to call me out on it. And also, you're going to call me out on it, but I'm listening in. I may have taught you the basics to get to where you are with the 3 of you, but I'm listening to you. I want to know what you know. I want to know what Susan knows, Heather knows, Betsy knows, Tiffany knows. I want to know what you know, because what you know, what you've grown in, I have no idea. I have no idea about leadership, manifestation, my body, all these things that I've been ignoring because I don't want to look at, right? I don't know. But I want to now know so that I too can grow. So I'm not your guru, right? So one thing I want you to remember, I am not your guru. I'm your sister and I'm your friend, right? I don't like that. don't like that. You know, it's really hard for me personally to have a guru because they always disappoint me. I don't want to disappoint you. So don't look at me as your guru. I'm just your friend and I'm your sister. So on that note, Chanel says, I've been craving solid female relationships, one with depth, like Heather said. Looking forward to diving deeper with you ladies.
There we
Aw,
go.
That's
There
what
we
we're
go.
talking about, right? That's what we're talking about. Okay. So we're already closing in on 2 hours that we've been together. I know.
It's so easy to just keep
I
going,
know. I
right? Yeah.
know. It is. So we'll close on this note by saying, I was going to give everybody a minute to talk, but I'll just close it for us by saying this. The way that it's going to work in the sanctuary is this. You're going to meet with one of us once a week. If not, meet with more of us twice a week. Okay. There's 5 of us here. There's 4 weeks in a month. So you'll be seeing more of us. Betsy takes her role twice a month. I'm 3 times a month. I'm coming in. Tiffany comes in once a month. Susan comes in once a month. Heather comes in once a month. And that may change. Right. So, but the way that it's going to work is you're always going to be with one of us. All right. A few times a week. We're teaching you all different things. But the beauty and what we've decided to do as a team is that we're coming in and we're gonna have like a theme. Let's just call it a theme, which I hate calling it that, but like something that we're going to be working on together. So this month, Tiffany, please say again what we're working on this month.
This month.
You remember?
Oh,
I know you remember.
yeah.
Okay.
So courageously owning your identity and embracing your own authenticity.
Yes. So owning your identity, embracing your authenticity. This is what we're working on as a team this month. And so you're going to have me coming in. I'm coming in actually tomorrow as our first kickoff. And what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to do a sacred ceremony. I'm going to bring you through a ceremony. Maybe you've never done it before. Maybe you have, but it's a very sacred time. We're going to go through meditation. I'm taking you on a soul journey. It's just a time just to be with yourself and just let the world go. And that's what we're doing tomorrow. And then Betsy will come in, and then Tiffany comes in sort of later at the beginning of next month because she's in that new moon phase. So then Betsy will come in, and then Susan comes in, and then Heather comes in, and then I'm coming in, and then it's already the new month. And we start fresh again. So that's how it's going to work, and that's how we're going to roll through it. All these things are going to be recorded, so you have access to it anytime. You can always go back. We're going to have journal prompts for you to work through. I'm going to be asking you questions like what's going on right now in your life. The women in the group's going to be asking you questions. We plan on being very active. That's going to be our role here, like asking you questions, helping you to dive deeper, giving you lots of thoughts. Here's what I don't want you to do. Okay. It's a lot coming at you at one time. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. We're going to lay it all out on an email that we're going to send to you with all the details of all the things. I also don't want you to do your best, is what I want you to do. Do your best not to hang on our words. And if we say something like, if I say numerology, you're like, I got to find out my numerologist. I've got to get the book. I've got to do all the things, because that's what I would do. Right? Tiffany would do that too. We know Susan would do it. Okay. We're not doing that right now. We're just hanging on to what we're going through and go through what it is. One more thing. At the beginning of our time together, Betsy mentioned soul sovereignty. That was a course that I put together a few years ago, went through a few rounds with a bunch of women that have gone through soul sovereignty. And it is a 12-week course. It is modules that you'll be going through. You'll get the modules every other Sunday. Starting this Sunday is our first module. And they may seem like the first module, setting up your sacred space. You may think, oh, super easy. It's not. It's tough because you have to make the commitment to do the work. And so you're going to work through that for 2 weeks. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about ways. We're going to do all the things. Then you'll get your next module. And the hope is that it's going to put you on a fast track, right? So it's going to give you a really great, solid foundation. It's what these women used to get started. It gives you a solid foundation of what we're talking about. It makes you, like Renetta, you said, I don't feel like I'm on their level, right? Maybe you haven't learned all the things that we've learned so far, but you will in the 12 weeks. So that's why I don't want you to do anything different. I just want you to really hone in and stay with us in that space. And you're going to learn, it's literally going to blow your mind. I
I'm
promise you.
ready.
So many ideas and thoughts to put together. You're going to be like, hold on, I need another week to go through this. That's how much information it is. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we officially start tomorrow. I can't wait. At noon. All right, ladies. Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you, Renetta, for being our little extra co-host,
Thank you.
our guest.
Thanks, ladies.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
All right. For everyone who just wants to say goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
It's been great.
See you
Good
soon.
night.
All right. Bye, ladies.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Bye.